Hi, welcome back to Common Core Common Sense. We're going to dive right into a conversation with Miss Quetera Johnson, a girls basketball coach here in Central Florida. What physical requirements might be necessary to participate in basketball?
Need to have a great cardiovascular, I don't want to say system, but
Condition?
the conditioning of the athlete is paramount because it's running, it's track inside. And again, love it because it's inside, but it's essentially track inside. And we expect that the girls, or we would hope that the girls outside of season, I mean, the running joke is that there is no off season, but there is an off season. They need downtime. But we're hoping that in that off season they are trying to keep their conditioning up. I've got girls that are so used to running in my practices that once we finish, I tell them, go and run track. It's great. I mean, you want them to you want them to be diverse in what they do, because that then, again, those are skills that they may bring back to basketball.
Right.
So get them to run outside of basketball and get them to fall in love with running, and then maybe again, maybe they don't play basketball in college, but maybe they become lifelong runners.
Yeah.
Didn't happen to me, but maybe it happens for them. I've had, and again, just as recently as last season, I had two young ladies, one that went on to join the track team to run middle distance, and another that entered her first 5K and won her first 5K that she entered. You know what I'm saying? So just, the conditioning is the main thing, because if you're tired, there's nothing that you can do.
Right.
And that's, again, sport and real life. When you're tired, there's nothing that you can really attack wonderfully or awesomely.
Right.
So getting them to be conditioned so that they're able to be alert and attack efficiently and aggressively is where we try and get them.
All right. So if my child is not especially athletic, but they have a real desire to play basketball, what could he or she learn from playing basketball?
Well, again, it's about, I don't want to say it's about time management, because you can't manage time. Time does what it does. You just have to learn how to operate within it.
Right.
But they will learn how to maybe prioritize things if they're going to participate in the sport. Again, if it's not about playing at the next level, then it could be about fitness. Now, fitness level. So that's what I take away from my participation. If I'm just completely convinced that I want to learn how to play this sport, then I'm convinced as a coach that there are coaches out there that can train and that can make you be a better player. Now, will you be the best player?
Right.
Again, that's up to you and your individual or personal determination at what it is you want to accomplish. But if they're willing to learn, that's why they pay us to teach.
Right.
We're teachers. That's what we do. So I would be hesitant to say that there's nothing that they could do, but they could definitely, take away either, again, life lessons or fitness lessons, which is what we're there for.
Do you recommend any additional workouts to better prepare my child to play basketball? And if so, where might those occur? What kind of things? And you mentioned running and the cardiovascular. Is there anything else? Any sort of strength training?
Well, strength training, weightlifting is always good, again, because once you start actually competing, you're going to be competing against other people. And basketball, like a lot of your other sports, is a contact sport. So strength helps. Any local gym, any of our teams, especially at the high school level, run summer workouts. So there's always an opportunity for a child to get better. If they are, again, if it's out of season for that particular sport, then there's usually a workout that's going on. There are always camps that are offered, clinics. I know locally we have a couple of colleges that offer free clinics, sport-specific free clinics, and those are great ways for a kid to figure out if they really like a sport before they make the full commitment to a sport.
So kind of keep an eye out for those before you try out the team.
Exactly.
Okay.
And again, any number of, as I stated, we've got a couple of state colleges here in the area. So those would be where I would look first for their clinics. And then there's also AAU organizations that may run clinics that may be, fees are minimal, but skill clinics.
All right. Should I change my child's diet at all to be more successful playing basketball?
I don't know about more successful. the thought of changing the diet again would be for fitness and just for health reasons, then I would say by all means, without basketball, change the diet. But what they put in is going to affect what comes out. So if the child has made a decision and a commitment to play a sport, then I can say only you want to put good stuff in. That way we're productive and getting the best of our time on the court or on the field.
Okay. So what are the long-term benefits of playing basketball beyond high school, beyond college?
Well, again, now you step it up a level and now the commitment becomes a little bit greater. If you have the chance to compete collegiately, let's say, then you probably earned a free tuition, free education, which is awesome.
Yes.
That trade-off to me is unreal. But again, let's say you don't. Then now what you've done is you've gotten yourself into a place of higher education or your workplace, and you've had to deal with deadlines, and you've had to deal with maybe not the most warm and fuzzy of teammates, not the most cooperative people, but you've learned how to deal with that and still accomplish a goal. So again, the life lessons, you can't put a price tag on that. Any sport. I mean, obviously, I'm coming from basketball and previously volleyball, and have had great teams all the way through. So when I know that I can get a kid out to play, I'm thinking benefit long term. The skill, the sport is almost kind of secondary because it's one more adult that hopefully is giving your kid a positive influence and hopefully telling them the same thing you're telling them at home so they don't think you're crazy.
Yeah.
And so,
Yep.
Again, putting better citizens out there is what we're trying to do.
As parents, as teachers, we know that a parent can tell a child something and they'll get, yeah, right. But as soon as the teacher says it or a peer says it, oh, yeah, okay, I'll do that all the time.
Right.
And it can
Right.
be verbatim.
Exactly.
And, yeah, it's fun. What about any potential drawbacks that we might have to consider before we decide, yes, go out for the team?
Well, there's always injury, and you never know how extensive an injury will be. Again, just an example, had a young lady, one of my guards, start and guard for me. It started for me for 2 seasons, stretching, and popped a ligament or something of that nature and was finished for the rest of the season. We had about a month of the season left. Stretching. I mean, it's just, it's very hit or miss. So that, in addition to the fact that when you're participating in sports, you're juggling that commitment along with the family commitment. And remember, we're first students, so we're trying to also keep our grades at a particular level. A, because maybe mom and dad require that, but B, because the school requires that, because you have to maintain a certain grade point average. So it may negatively impact students' grades until they learn how to better maneuver within the time. Again, because like I said, time management it's a
Oxymoron almost.
yes, it is an oxymoron. You can't manage it, so
Yeah.
you just have to learn to work within it. And I think again, you have some students and some even young adults, so collegiate level, that adjust well, but some that don't adjust well. So scholastically, personally, there are drawbacks, and physically there are drawbacks. Yeah, but hopefully again those positives will outweigh those drawbacks.
Right.
Yeah.
Uniforms. Where does my child get it? Who has to clean it? Do I have to pay for any part of it? Do I get to keep any part of it?
Depends on where you participate. I have not ever in my coaching career allowed a child to take a uniform home. We wash them all in-house between my coaching staff. And I've been, again, very lucky to be on campuses where we had departments where students that were maybe in life skills classes, that was, a skill that they were needing to practice, so they were willing to do that for us as well. Because as a player, my coach did that, and I thought it was awesome because now you don't lose uniforms year to year. but she mistakenly washed something of a particular color with our uniforms, but everybody's looked the same, so they were still uniform. So, you're hoping to guard against what may happen in individual homes,
right.
and now you're getting back, any hodgepodge of a uniform. But it depends on how they're competing. High schools, usually the high school is providing a uniform for you, but if your child tends to participate in what we call summer league or AAU athletics, then they're probably purchasing a uniform. So it just depends on the sport and how exactly they are participating.
Okay. Let's say my child makes the team.
Okay.
What do you need now from me as a parent to support your team and my student?
Your support. Both financially. We need you to kind of reinforce, usually their team rules or requirements, and we want to make sure that you're understanding the commitment that's required and you're helping your child to fulfill that commitment, because at the end of the day they're kids. It's what they are kids. So you as the adult, we're expecting, obviously there's going to be some money involved, so financially, but also emotionally when your kid comes home and they just got out of a 2.5-hour practice and they've got 5 hours worth of homework and they've got a test tomorrow and they just feel like they want to throw it all away. You've got to be there to be the voice of reason, that it's not the end of the world. You're not going to be able to do everything, so you need to prioritize what is it exactly that we can do within the time that we have, and let's get that done.
And done well.
And done well, exactly. Because if you're maneuvering within the time.
Yeah.
Maneuvering within the time. So we need the parent there to reinforce what we're trying to promote, just like we're hopefully there reinforcing what the parent is trying to promote. So as long as we're on the same page, we're okay.
You mentioned financial support. What does that look like? Any fees, any donations, any fundraisers?
Usually fundraising is completed in order for the students not to have to directly pay out of pocket for items, things like shoes or T-shirts or warm-ups, bags, anything of that nature. Again, high school-wise, hopefully uniform provided, so it's the extras, the accessories, but you want everyone to look the same, so that again, there's a cost involved, but you're not trying to put a dent into the parent's pocket anymore, especially here in our county where the students are required to pay a fee in order to participate in a sport. Though there's a decrease or decline in the fee per sport that you play. You only pay for 2 sports per season, or per year rather. After your second sport in a scholastic year, you're playing for free essentially. But that's a required fee. So we're not trying to bankrupt anybody. We're not trying to have them be at such a disadvantage financially for their student to participate with us.
Okay. When and how long is your season exactly?
High school basketball season traditionally lasts from October to the end of January, so technically the first week in February. Now, if you happen to be able to make it past your district championships, now you're into February. I believe the state championship occurs about that last week or second to last week in February, so pretty long season.
Yeah.
We're covering Thanksgiving and Christmas.
And New Year's.
And New Year's, covering all those, hitting all the hot points there, and then, wrapping up sometime there in February. So it makes for a long season.
Is there anything that you would really want to share with parents that perhaps I haven't thought to ask?
I think the biggest how do I even say it? I don't know, helpful hint, and we already spoke about it. It's understanding that you're not just dropping your student off and, whatever happens while you're gone, and then they come back and now you get them as your student, your kid again. We really are trying to, build a program or build a team, and that requires a very large commitment from those students that are involved, but they can't be committed if their parents aren't willing to help them be committed. So again, but we spoke about that earlier, it's really about understanding that it's not just your child being committed, but it's also about you being committed.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your time.
You're very
I
welcome.
really appreciate it.
You're
Thank
very welcome.
you
Anytime.
for coming by.
All right.
There you go.